Ways became death traps. Families were crushed trying to escape the advancing firewall.
Every building became a bomb. Timber beams fell like flaming spears through the screaming crowds.
The smoke killed more than flames. The old and weak dropped dead in the streets.
The fire jumped streets in seconds. No gap was too wide. Nothing could stop it.
Mothers ran with babies through fire. Many didn't make it out of the burning maze.
Heroes emerged from hell. Strangers carried strangers. Everyone knew this was the end of London.
London Bridge became the last exit. Thousands crushed together trying to escape across the Thames.
They dropped everything trying to survive. Toys, gold, memories. All of it burned tonight. The air itself became a weapon. Embers fell like rain and burned through human skin.
They threw their lives into the river. Better to lose everything than burn alive tonight.
Business records, family Bibles, deeds. People saved paper over gold. Their identities mattered more than wealth.
St. Paul's roof melted into rivers. Lead ran through streets hot enough to cook flesh.
Civilization collapsed in minutes. Neighbors became enemies. Survival erased every rule of decent society today.
They looted churches as they burned. Sacred silver melted in their hands before reaching safety.
Buildings fell without warning. Entire streets collapsed. The city devoured itself from the inside out.
Faith offered no protection. Priests watched their churches burn. Even God seemed to abandon London tonight.
1 mile wide, 3 miles long. The fire moved like an army conquering every street.
Their carts broke under the weight. Families watched their entire lives spill into burning streets.
The city gates became killing grounds. People crushed each other, fighting to escape the flames.
The weak couldn't keep pace. Daughters had to choose, leave mother behind or die together.
Animals collapsed from heat. Their bodies blocked escape routes. People climbed over corpses to survive.
Those who reached the river were the lucky ones. They watched London die safe.
Gold littered the streets. Nobody stopped to pick it up. Life was worth more.
Some refused to run. They chose to die with their shops rather than live poor.
Overloaded boats sank in the Thames. Refugees who escaped fire drowned in the river.
They saw hell on earth. The horror in their eyes would never fade completely away.
London Bridge became a trap. Fire blocked both ends. Hundreds jumped into the freezing Thames.
Business records burned in the air. 400 years of commerce turned to ash tonight.
Pregnant women went into labor in the streets. Babies were born surrounded by fire.
Even rats fled the flames. Every living creature in London ran for the river.
Some courtyards became ovens. Fire surrounded them completely. There was absolutely no way out alive.
They dug through burning rubble with bare hands. Most found nothing but bones and ash.
They escaped from windows on burning ropes. The fall was better than the flames inside.
Intersections created fire tornadoes. The heat was so intense and stone itself began to crack and melt. The Thames became a refugee camp. 50,000 people floated on water watching London burn. The stones began to crack. Ancient rock couldn't withstand heat that could melt solid lead. The greatest cathedral in England became the greatest bomb. Stone blocks flew like cannonballs through air.
Cathedral stones became missiles.
The shockwave hit like a physical wall. It threw people to the ground a quarter mile.
The cloud rose a mile high. Every person in southeast England saw St. Paul's die.
Burning beams rained from the sky for 10 minutes. The city was bombed by itself.
Stone angels fell to earth. Even heaven's messengers couldn't survive this fire from hell tonight.
The explosion triggered more explosions. 20 buildings detonated in seconds. The fire doubled its size. The blast burst eardrums half a mile away. Thousands were permanently deafened by the explosion.
What remained of St. Paul's was a burning skeleton. The church was gone completely forever.
Molten lead from the roof ran through streets. It stayed hot enough to burn all night.
Survivors looked like ghosts. Stone dust covered them completely white. They couldn't speak from shock. St. Paul's library held manuscripts 1,000 years old. Every single one burned to ash tonight.
The explosion left a crater 40 feet deep. St. Paul's had collapsed into its foundation completely. The priests wept openly. 600 years of faith reduced to rubble in one night. Even the cathedral bells melted. Bronze ran like water. The voice of God was silenced.
The explosion destroyed everything within 200 yards. An entire district vanished in one blast.
The explosion changed everything. The fire was now unstoppable. London would burn for 4 more days.
King Charles watched his capital burn. Even royalty couldn't stop this fire from destroying everything nearby.
Charles ordered desperate measures. Blow up houses to create fire breaks. Destroy London to save London.
The king's men placed gunpowder in homes. They would blow up entire streets deliberately tonight. Homeowners begged for mercy. Soldiers had orders. Rich or poor, everything in fire's path dies.
The demolitions began. Entire streets exploded on purpose. London destroyed itself trying to survive tonight.
The fuses were lit. Soldiers had 30 seconds to run before the buildings exploded violently. They created a gap 100 feet wide. Now they waited to see if anything stops fire.
The fire breaks failed. Embers jumped the gaps easily. They destroyed 50 homes for absolutely nothing.
Fire surrounded the tower. If gunpowder magazine exploded, it would destroy half of the remaining London.
They evacuated the crown jewels in panic. Even symbols of monarchy had to flee the fire. Samuel Pepys documented everything. His diary would become the only detailed record of London's death.
Pepys buried his wine and cheese in the garden. People saved the strangest things tonight.
They destroyed the Navy office deliberately. Better to lose the building than England's entire naval records. The Lord Mayor was powerless. His authority meant nothing. The fire ignored every order he gave.
The king declared martial law. Democracy ended. Military dictatorship began. London needed total control to survive.
The military took complete control. Organization replaced panic. For the first time, London fought back effectively.
Rich and poor worked together finally. The fire didn't care about class. Neither did survival.
King's army brought order from chaos. But the fire still burned. The war wasn't over.
September 5th. The wind finally changed direction. For the first time, fire retreated instead of advancing.
The last flames died on September 6th. 4 days, 13,000 homes, gone completely forever.
The embers cooled. The smoke cleared. Silence replaced the roar of flames for 5 days.
436 acres destroyed. 80% of London was gone. The city ceased existing.
When refugees returned, they couldn't find their homes. Everything looked exactly the same. Nothing.
Everything melted together. They couldn't identify their possessions. Even memories had burned into unrecognizable metal.
They had deeds proving ownership. But there was nothing left to own except ash and memories.
80,000 people were homeless. Tent cities appeared overnight in fields surrounding dead London's ruins.
Official count said 6 deaths. Unofficial count was thousands. Nobody knew the truth. Records burned.
St. Paul's stood as a skeleton for 40 years. A monument to the fire. A warning. They planned to rebuild London better. Wide streets, stone buildings. The old London would never return.
Reconstruction began immediately. From ashes rose a new London. Brick replaced wood. Order replaced chaos completely.
Within months, London was rising again. Stronger, safer. The fire destroyed the old but created better.
They built a monument so London would never forget. 202 feet tall, marking catastrophe.
Pepys' diary preserved the truth. Without his words, the Great Fire would be forgotten myth completely.
It took 40 years to build new St. Paul's. The dome would dominate London forever after.
Survivors never forgot. They told their grandchildren. The fire lived in memory for 3 generations total.
The fire destroyed medieval London completely. But from those ashes rose the greatest city on earth.
September 1666. 4 days of fire. 13,000 homes burned. But London never died. It rose.